Hello, my name is Chris, and today we're going to go over the GDKPd add-on and how to effectively use it for your GDKP raids and all the little tips and tricks that I've learned over the last several months, up to a year. I think I've been doing it now. First and foremost, the add-on that you're going to want to download is from PopT1X. PopT1X, that is this guy here. As you see, PopT1X, it'll be GdkpdClassic on Curse. It's only on Curse currently. PopT1X, make sure you download that one. It's got the yellow background. If you don't get that one, the other ones that are on Curse are useful, but they don't have all the features that you're supposed to have with the add-on. This is just an update to an old add-on, so get the one that works. Cool. I also use Elvui. And Questie, Elvui and Questie together for some reason gives me the option to have item IDs whenever I look at them through AtlasLoot. I don't know why you have to have both. If I enabled or disabled everything but Elvui, it doesn't show up. Elvui and Atlas, it doesn't show up. If I disable everything but Atlas and Questie, it doesn't show up. But if I have Elvui, Questie, and AtlasLoot, it gives me item IDs. I don't know. I don't understand why it is the way it is, but there you have it. That's what we have for that. Now let's get into the add-on itself. Once you get into the game, you're gonna have this GDKP drag to move thing over here by my mini map. This thing here. So that is just to show where loot will pop up. I usually get it somewhere right around here, and it just goes all the way down. Basically, it'll just show all of your loot things, your loot windows, and it goes one by one. I don't do the multi bid thing that some do. We're going to first when you do //GDKP, it'll bring this window up. You're going to go to profiles first, and you're going to go GDKP default, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. You type in what do you want there, what do you want the name of your profile to be. That way you can just select this profile for all of your characters instead of having to set this up every single time you go to a new character. Okay, you just type that in, hit OK, boom, we're in that default profile now. This still shows, this showing here. I'm going to lock that. That will make that disappear, so you don't have to have that little drag window. It's where you want it to be. All good there. We're going to start from the top and go down after we've done our profile. Your starting bids, this is TBC. A lot of times you're going to be starting off with a 500 gold bid and 100 gold increments if you're doing anything from SSC, TK upwards. If you're doing Kara, if you're doing Gruul, if you're doing Mag, obviously it'll be maybe lower, but it depends on your server and what you want to charge for each item. This will basically mean whenever you type this in, make sure you do 500 or whatever the amount is. You type it in, you press enter. 500, enter. If you don't press enter, it won't save. Say this is 100, right? But if you wanted 50, whenever I go off of it, it's not going to be saved because I didn't hit enter. You have to hit the number that you want, 50 in this case, enter, boom. Your increments in your starting bid are set now. Let's go ahead and convert to raid. Let's set to master looter. This right here is not part of the locked thing, the drag icon. This is completely separate. I don't think there's a way to lock in it. Not sure, honestly. I don't think there's a way to lock that though. But you just drag it where you want it to be. It only shows up when you're master loot in a raid and you're the master looter. So cool. Back to this starting bid increments. We did that. You have second bidder share. I never use this. Don't know why anybody would. Third bidder share. Never use this. Don't know why people would. The additional raid members is super useful. Okay, this is super useful if you want to give extra cuts to your tanks, to your top DPS, to your healers, whatever. If you're in a 25-man raid and you want to give extra cuts out, say you want to give a half a cut to both tanks, you would just put 1 and enter. Again, put the number in and enter. So whenever you're in a raid and you have this, and you have 25 people in the raid group, it will distribute. Whenever you hit distribute here, it will distribute 26 ways. So it will automatically calculate how many people are in the raid. It'll add 1 more because you have this set. You can go 1 to 40 for this. If you're taking Oh, I got disconnected. Come on, Blizzard. If you have the additional raid members, basically it's just going to add more cuts. So instead of the 25 way split, it's 26 or 27, 28, depending on how many people you or how many extra additional people you have for that to be on your cuts. Come on, load in here. Slowly but sure. Alright, going good here. You see me. Good old Blizzard. Still not in. On here. There we go. Perfect. Here. Okay. Additional raid members, 1 to 40, whatever you want it to be. 2 to 3 is usually what I do. 1 for each tank, or you can do the extra cut and split that half with the other tanks. Your auction timeout, I always put it all the way to 30. Your auction bid timeout refresh, I always put it to 30. Basically, this is going to count down from 30, and I do this to 10-second intervals. So whenever you're doing an auction, I'll kind of show what that looks like. So if you do /GDKP space auction, you can click this item, or shift left click, whatever. I'll just show you with several things here, and it'll bid these things in order. Okay, it'll bid these things in order here, as you can see. It goes in order. You can cancel, you can auto bid. Say if I want to auto bid up to 1,000 or whatever, 10,000, right? It's going to automatically show that. As you see here on this, it'll automatically bid, and it automatically bids. That's what it does. You can set an auto bid on your other one, right? And then it'll just auto bid for you up to the amount that you want it to be. If you decide that you don't want to continue auto bidding, you can hit stop bid, and then it will stop at whatever the amount is, and they'll win that item for whatever it left at. But it'll keep going. It'll keep bidding in the minimum increments. It won't go any, it won't jump ahead or anything like that unless you manually put in a bid. Again, this is for the bid timeout and bid timeout and the bid refresh. It always sets it back to the 30 seconds. So we see we're at 10 seconds. I put it in, the other one automatically bidded back up. It only goes in 10-second countdown timer refresh. You have these other options here. I don't use the auto award because I loot everything to myself and pass it out manually. Award loot to master looter when auto auctioning. Don't use that either. Announce auction start to raid warning. Announce bids to raid warning. I also do this so that it will basically it announces it gives you that raid warning announcement every time a bid is up. And then it'll announce the current pot after each thing. So if you look down here, it says 2,250 was what the pot amount is at, because that was where the bid was at. Okay, and it's just going to go through each one of these in 30-second intervals, and just count down and continue the bid process here. Make sure you do the announce current pot, because be transparent, don't be a dirtbag still in the pot. Let everybody know what the pot is at. It's just the way it should be. Don't do the mailing pot shares, because I pass it out at the end of the raid. I'll kind of tell you, I'll show what happens with the distribute in a second. Link raid member balance the pot. I don't do this because it announces the pot at the end of each auction, so people get an idea from there alone. Going to the appearance, show auction spiral. I had it checked, but I don't. I don't really use that at all. Don't use any of this. This is all kind of whatever. Yeah, I don't use any of this. Notification options. You can actually type in these are the rules to my raid, blah, right? Type that in, hit accept, right? You can actually broadcast your rules from this, on this side of here, this window here. This, you hit that button and it'll automatically post what your rules are, right? Let's make it more obvious, right? These are my rules, right? Make sure you hit accept and so you can broadcast your rules. Boom. And it'll, you know, if it's too long for one message, it'll do it in several messages. And that's the way it is. I don't have this enabled because most people don't use the add-on. These outdated things I don't think work because this add-on's it's just a rework of an old add-on, so you know, it's what it is. Hide history windows, don't do that. Don't do any of this. I just leave it up the whole time. Profiles, again, we went over that. Okay, now to the real useful stuff. We're 10 minutes in here. Per item settings. Per item settings is super useful. Item level settings, I've never really used it. That may be useful in Wrath of the Lich King where item levels become more of a thing. But we're going to go to per item settings. This balance, also, I just usually put it underneath here. And that it gives you the auction history here where it says, you know, what was bid, how much it was bid, and then it shows you how much they owe you. So if they bought multiple things, that would go higher, right? So say they bought this item for 5,000 gold, 50,000 gold, whatever. You put in 5,000 gold for this, right? We're gonna get to this in a second. This is the per item setting, okay? Per item setting. This window pops up for the per item setting, right? If I wanted to go in here, you hit this plus button. You hit this plus button. This item, you see that ID number? The ID number 32521, okay? 32521. Hit OK. That will auto-populate that into this per item setting. You can click on here. It doesn't give a good window here for it, but if you just click around this area, it'll give you the little cursor. Say you want to start that bid off at 10,000 gold, right? 10,000 gold, right? You put in 10,000, you press enter. Minimum increments, I want it to be 500 gold increments. 500 gold increments, I put in 500, I press enter. Okay, we're gonna bid that off again, right? We just bid it off before. The starting bid was 500. Now we're gonna bid it off again. GDKP auction. That'll bring the item back up. Now with this back up, we're going to, the starting bid is now 10,000 gold here, because I put 10,000 gold, not 5,000. 10,000 gold with 500 gold increments, right? They bid 10,000 on it. I want to go up. If I go up by 10,250, it does nothing. It does nothing. The add-on won't pick it up because it's not the minimum increments you need. Now if I did 10,500, boom, I'm the highest bidder now. It'll go to me. I want to show you guys real quick how the additional things work here though. So right now, Love It owes 7,250 gold. That's because they bought a Warglaive for 2,250 gold. God, I wish. They bought the faceplate of Impenetrable for 5,000 gold. So now they're at 7,250 gold for their total, right? The 10,000 gold minimum increments, we just showed you how to do the per item settings. You can just hide that afterwards. This is set for what it needs to be set, the additional members. Now they owe 18,250 because they bought two items, one at 11,000, one at 5,000, and then the third was at 2,250. This is the total amount. When you trade them, they have to give you that amount. If they don't give you that amount, then it will take it out of their cut at the end. So we have additional raid members at 2 here. There's 2 people in this raid. You can say you take 10%. You say you take 10% of the pot for yourself. If you hit this minus button, you take 10% of that. So the 10% would be what, 1,825, right? 1,825. That looks right. You remove that. So you hit the minus there, you type in the amount, you hit remove, and now as you see that manual adjustment, you took out that 10%. You can also add back in, 1825, right? That'll get you back to the pot size of 18,250. But for our purposes, 1825. We're removing 10% of the pot because that is my organizer cut for the pot. So that shows you the auction history whenever you go to display that, for your GDKP logs. You'll see that. And if you hit distribute here, distribute will then distribute that 16,425 because you minus out the 1825 organizer cut. You hit distribute. Now it will give 16,425 pot size out to 2 players plus 2 extra cuts, because in your add-on you hit the additional raid members for 2. So it's 2 cuts for me and the other person in the raid, 2 cuts that are additionally taken out, and that will give you the, so they owe me 14,144 because they bought all these items and they didn't pay me for it. Okay, if they had paid me for it, they would have gotten a 4,106 gold payout for the raid. But because they didn't pay me for these, they owe me 14,144. That is basically the whole gist of the add-on. It's really simple. It's really easy. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you are interested in more of this, follow the channel. I do a lot of raid content here where we're doing speed runs or clearing content, whatever. Sunwell's coming up. I'm going to do things there. Yeah, that's it for me though. Thank you. I hope you find this useful in your raids. Later.